While the entire planet had its eyes glued to the World Cup, one of the best goalkeepers of the last decade was quietly pushed out the door at Barcelona. The club that replaced his wages just spent 22 million euros on his own teammate's understudy. A goalkeeper who once sold his own boots to save his son's life earned himself a life-changing transfer. And a name English football swore it had buried resurfaced, thousands of miles away, wearing a new badge. None of it made the front page. All of it will matter more than you think. Let's start with a goalkeeper who spent this summer in a kind of professional limbo. Marc-André ter Stegen made over 400 appearances for Barcelona. He was their captain. And this summer, at 34, he found himself third choice, passed in the pecking order by Joan Garcia and Wojciech Szczesny, two goalkeepers Barcelona trust more than the man who once defined their defense. The solution both sides landed on: a loan to Ajax, reuniting him with Michel, the coach he played under during a brief, injury-hit spell in Girona. On paper, it looked simple. In practice, it became one of the messiest sagas of the window, delayed for weeks by tax complications between Spain and the Netherlands, to the point where reports suggested the whole deal could collapse. It finally closed this week. Barcelona will still cover the bulk of his salary, reportedly around 90%, while Ajax pays a smaller, performance-linked top-up. For Barcelona, it's a way to offload wages without a permanent transfer. For ter Stegen, it's a chance to actually play football again. And for Ajax, it's a genuine coup. A World Cup-tested, Champions League-winning goalkeeper walking into their goal for the price of a rental. While ter Stegen was fighting to leave Barcelona, the club was busy spending millions on someone to replace the attacking threat they were losing elsewhere.
Barcelona didn't wait around this summer. While the world watched the group stage, they quietly finished one of the smartest pieces of business in Europe. Karim Adeyemi arrived from Borussia Dortmund for a fixed fee of 22 million euros, with up to 9 million more in add-ons. A 5-year contract, 6 million euros net a season, and crucially, Dortmund walked away with a 35% sell-on clause, a safety net in case Barcelona flip him for a profit down the line. Here's why the timing mattered. Adeyemi was entering the final stretch of his Dortmund deal, which meant the German club had almost no leverage to hold out for a bigger fee. Barcelona took full advantage and got a player Hansi Flick already knows intimately, having given him his senior Germany debut. It's the club's second major attacking addition of the summer, following the arrival of Anthony Gordon from Newcastle. Not every transfer this window is about leverage and contract clauses, though. This next one starts with a goalkeeper who once had to sell the boots off his own feet. Before Orlando Gill was a World Cup hero, he was a goalkeeper who nearly gave up the game entirely. Years before this tournament, Gill's young son fell seriously ill. With medical bills piling up and no safety net to fall back on, Gill made a decision that had nothing to do with football and everything to do with being a father. He sold his own boots, some of the only assets he had, to help cover the cost of his son's treatment. Fast forward to this summer. Gill walks into the World Cup as Paraguay's number 2 choice, fighting for a starting spot. He not only wins the job, he becomes the reason Paraguay knock out Germany in the round of 32, saving 2 penalties in the process. Paraguay's run eventually ends against France in the round of 16, but Gill leaves the tournament with something far more valuable than a shootout win. His name is now on the desk of major European clubs. This is why football stories matter. Not because of the fee attached to them, but because of the years of struggle that made the fee possible. A goalkeeper who once had nothing to his name is now negotiating a multi-million-dollar move to Europe. Not every transfer this window is a redemption arc, though. This next one is a release clause bombshell that Manchester United fans are still trying to process. Manchester United didn't need to negotiate. They didn't need to haggle. They simply reached into Youri Tielemans' contract, found a release clause worth £35 million, and activated it. Tielemans built a reputation at Aston Villa as one of the Premier League's most underrated midfielders, composed, two-footed, comfortable carrying the ball through pressure. For United, it's a low-risk, high-upside move. No lengthy negotiation, no bidding war, just a number written into a contract 2 years ago that nobody thought would actually get triggered. And here's the part that got buried by World Cup coverage. United didn't stop there. After their move for Atalanta's Ederson collapsed, they pivoted almost overnight to sign his international teammate, Andre Santos, from Chelsea. 2 Brazilian-linked midfield rebuilds, completed within days of each other, and almost nobody outside Old Trafford noticed. A release clause is the quiet kind of shock. Our next transfer is the loud kind, the one nobody wanted to talk about, but everybody eventually will. Mason Greenwood's career has been one of the most polarizing in modern football. After his time at Manchester United ended and a move to Getafe rebuilt his footballing reputation, then a big money switch to Marseille turned him into one of League One's most productive forwards. His next chapter is now unfolding somewhere few expected: Turkey, with Fenerbahçe. The transfer was confirmed while the football world was locked onto World Cup knockout matches, a timing that some believe was intentional, designed to minimize backlash and headlines. Whatever the reason, it's a deal that will follow him, and Turkish football, into a new season carrying all the same debate it always has. Our final story isn't controversial. It isn't a shock. It's simply the kind of transfer football rarely makes room for anymore: the quiet, sentimental homecoming. Daley Blind has wound the clock back to where it all started. After a career that took him through Manchester United, Bayern Munich, and beyond, Blind has completed an emotional return to Ajax, the club that raised him, to finish his playing days exactly where they began. There's no transfer fee drama here. No release clause, no bidding war, no controversy. Just a footballer choosing to close the loop on a career that started in Amsterdam's academy system decades ago. In an era of billion-euro moves and manufactured melodrama, that kind of ending is rare enough to be worth remembering. Every deal so far in this video is done and confirmed. This last one isn't, but it might end up being bigger than all 6 combined. Michael Olise finished this World Cup as one of its standout performers, leading the tournament in assists and dragging France deep into the knockout rounds. And according to multiple reports, he's decided what he wants next: Real Madrid. Here's what's actually true right now, not what's being hyped. Fabrizio Romano reports that Real Madrid have not made a formal approach because Bayern's stance has been consistent. Olise is not for sale, and any deal would need to start north of 200 million euros. The one thing that could change everything is Olise himself, if he tells Bayern directly that he wants out. As of this week, according to Romano, that conversation hasn't happened yet. With the World Cup over, Olise is expected to sit down with Bayern's board in the coming days, a meeting Real Madrid will be watching closely. So no, this isn't confirmed, it isn't official, but it's the one storyline from this transfer window that everybody in football will be refreshing their phones for. 6 transfers, all done, all confirmed. A World Cup winning goalkeeper pushed down the pecking order and loaned out amid a tax standoff. A 22 million euro replacement signed almost overnight. A goalkeeper who once sold his boots, now walking into Europe's biggest clubs. A release clause quietly triggered while millions watched a different game. A comeback carefully timed to avoid scrutiny. A quiet homecoming that needed no spotlight at all. And one more, not yet official, that could end up being the biggest of them all. The World Cup gave us the goals everyone will remember. But football's business never stopped running in the background, and some of this summer's most important decisions happened while nobody was looking. Which of these caught you off guard? And do you think Olise actually ends up at the Bernabéu? Drop your prediction in the comments and subscribe, because the second that meeting with Bayern happens, we'll be the ones telling you what really went down.